Howdy, folks. We're back with some more Morgana, who I've been really enjoying. I was a little bit disappointed because I am a Demacia lover, and I was kind of bummed to get in here and realize that it was in fact a mono Targon deck in Path. But you know what? The sort of fated self buff thing that's going on here is actually pretty fun, and been really enjoying playing this shield. Well, this is just I don't know, something about this fun card. Works on a lot of axes, and I really love the item added to it. We just hit off stream. We just hit level 8, so we can equip a rare relic for the first time. And I thought I'd sort of like run through and give some of my thoughts, just thinking about what Morgana does. First, just gonna, I always reread things because it's just so easy to get sort of the exact effects out of your mind. When you target an enemy, curse it with shackles. Alright, so this should be just about anything so long as it targets. So, you know, we could do something like a Riptide Battery that plays cannon barrages, plays 5 cannon barrages if we can plunder. And I think of all of the relics, the ones that I am sort of most interested in are Chemtech Duplicator, Riptide Battery for just targeting a bunch, or Grand General's Counterplan. Create a fleeting copy of me in hand. This is going to be a backup Morgana, but it's more often going to be a Morgana's Dark Binding that creates a Morgana's Dark Binding in our deck. And just making a ton of stuns. I don't know, that sounds sort of compelling to me. I'm not really sure where I want to start. And another thing is Archangel Staff could also be good, but I think we would want to pair it with Grand General's Counterplan. I think the Counterplan would be better to begin with. Corrupted Star Fragment might not be bad, but hard to say. This doesn't really feel like the deck for it. You can kind of go a buffing Morgana path, but that sounds... something about that sounds like it's not working for me. And the other thing is you could do a Luden's Tempest thing. Increases your level 2 Morgana's skill by 1 damage, and perhaps more than that, it opens you up to more of the support champions and the supporting cards that are already really good with Morgana. You know, sort of Bilgewater control, Noxus control, these sorts of things. I think... God, this is tough. I think I'm going to start with a Grand General's Counterplan and see where we go. Actually, you know what? I just said that. I think it's going to be it's going to be sillier to play with the Riptide Battery, so I kind of want to see what happens. We are level 8, so I'm going to take us into a 2-star. We are not a 2-star. We are a 1-star, but we're a 1-star level 8, and I think we will be pretty much fine to take on Nautilus. Is this... Why does that have a rarity gem? Is that new? Or do I just... Am I going crazy? Alright, well it didn't seem to affect anything. Has that always been there? I'm losing my mind. Alright, when you target an enemy, curse it with shackles. We've got a kind of fated thing going on. I'm not really interested in any of these. Overprepared can target our own units, and it certainly wouldn't be a bad power, but just sort of like for a first power. None of these really influence like my card or my support choices, and often that's what I'm looking for in a first power, is something to build into to best maximize its utility. Alright, we're done. This is really funny. I've never seen these 3 lined up before, but I've often sort of like mentally placed them in a similar space in my head, and part of the reason is that I think Disarmed starts better the easier adventures, the earlier adventures, I guess I should say, because sort of boards are more likely to stall, the creatures or units are more likely to be small in general, and so Neg 1 Nego is more likely to be a meaningful portion of an enemy's attack. But in the later runs, and particularly once you get to Aurelian Soul, this is irrelevant. This turns your 50-50 into a 49-50, it does nothing. These two become extremely relevant, and honestly, like, both extremely good. But I think all of these are almost exactly equal. I would not critique any pick at all, but I can't see any reason we have for choosing. Like, I can't see any stun synergies, I can't see any frostbite synergies. I'm going to take the disarmed, because I just think, particularly on the Nautilus run, where we have this foes units have +0/+1, games tend to be a little bit more of a slog, and creatures get to attack multiple times more frequently, and we're just going to try to take advantage of that as much as we possibly can. Right, my opponent is the Beast Below, so they have that +0/+1, and their sea monsters have Fearsome. Interesting. This is great. I think I've only played a few runs with Morgana, but definitely in the earlier games of any one run, I find that the strategy is just you just want a shield vault and a cheap creature, and that's it. That's all you need. That actually gets you really, really far. We don't have the attack token here. I just... God. Okay, so we could play the Solari Soldier this turn, and then next turn play the Startle Stomper and attack for 4. Or we could bank a spell mana this turn, and next turn play the Solari Soldier and have up Shield Vault, in case they produce a blocker. And I just... something about that line feels a little better to me. It gets in for less damage if they don't produce a blocker, but they just always have like a Sea Scarab or a... they just always have like a Sea Scarab. And yeah, there is a slightly unfortunate thing about this, which is that because we have our Solari Soldier, after this turn, it will not be big enough to sort of just like have a free attack into the Sea Scarab. It's going to drop to a 3/3. Yeah, for 1/4, it's going to be fine. Like, it will be fine. Interesting. God, what do I... This is complicated. We have a good block against the Thorny Toad. We have a good block against the Thorny Toad on board. We can't produce a good block against the Sea Scarab. Or, sorry, Solari Soldier is also a good block against the Sea Scarab, and they can cast this Shackles. I almost don't want to Shackles this Sea Scarab any further, because I want it to attack and block. I want it off the board, because this 19 away from deep is probably a pretty safe total for our opponent's library to be at. But some of their draws with Drake Dredges and with the, I think it's Jettison is the 1-mana toss spell, they get there really fast. Gosh. Alright, I am very much in doubt, so I think I'm going to go for the mana efficient play a Lisa and Dolly, and double Shackles their Thorny Toad, because we get one from the play and one from the our star power. Free block, but not a lethal block. Nothing too wrong with that. By the way, you're already seeing how impactful Disarmed can be. Just like all of our units have great blocks against pretty much all of their units. And we are going to, I think, just go for the open attack. Oh gosh, we should actually, this is immobile. I have a feeling that like attacking order might matter. No, it won't, because they only have one blocker. Sea Scarab is only going to get one trigger ever. So that's fine, that's fine. Happy to see this. Love to match up tough and a one attack blocker. Always feels really good. Alright. That's a unit. That's a unit. Play a Startled Stomper. Just to kind of stick on board, but we're not going to play the second one because I do want to keep up this Dark Binding on some turn soon. But perhaps not this one. We can put 3 shackles on something, but what do we want to put 3 shackles on? Oh, actually, we're not going to play this Morgana this turn. We just put a Riptide Battery on it, and we're going to try to Riptide Battery. So now I think the plan is Startled Stomper, see what their attack is, and use a Dark Binding to mess it up as much as possible. Alright, this is fine. I'm fine with making this trade. I'm fine with making this block. And I'm actually fine with making this block as well. So we're not even going to mid-combat Dark Binding anything, because I just think our blocks are great. And I just don't feel like I want to post-combat Dark Binding anything either. It just... we could get 2 shackles on this beast below, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... no, they're on 11 life. We should do this. We should double shackles their beast. Because we just have a good board presence and they're on a relatively low life total. So I think that's going to be for the best. We're basically going to try to kill them with a plundering Morgana after combat. If we can get away with it. You got it, Chief. Curse with shackles. Curse the beast, devourer of the depths. This should level our Morgana, I think. Oh, was that the... I'm confused. We got 5 Riptide batteries, but we've targeted units. Yeah, we've targeted units more than that. What? Cannon Barrage sort of like famously targets the old interaction between Riptide Rex and Ezreal was notably powerful. Alright, I am confused by that. And I'm also confused if it counted the Riptide batteries once or... yeah, I don't know what happened. Alright, my opponent can free their... excuse me. Can free their Thorny Toad, but not their Devourer of the Depths. And... yeah, I sort of just feel fine with that. I don't really think there's anything I want to do. I'm going to gain some life. That's fine by me. We should set up for an open attack, really, shouldn't we? Should we? And we have lethal multiple ways. Maybe we just reserve in hand, just because like it feels really unlikely for my opponent's Sea Monsters deck to even be able to produce anything that would threaten this attack at all. Yep, you got it. Morgana doesn't say, like, your spells target units or anything, right? She just says, you've targeted units 8+ times. Did they change? Oh, new card. 2 mana burst cursed enemy with Terror. The cursed unit has -3, -0. Ooh. Ooh. I mean, yeah, that's pretty cool. in our deck. Put Terra and Shackles on it. I'm trying to figure out if we can even justify taking this compared to the Crumbling Sands, which is just like a very, very strong removal spell, particularly on the Nautilus track where our enemies have some monsters. But no, I'm gonna take the Malediction also because it works well with Disarmed. In this game, because of the nature of persistent health, if you can reduce a unit to 0 attack, it is just so bad. Like that unit is just so irrelevant to the game. Leona with 1-0 and Deathless. Okay, Deathless is, I hope I remember the text. I think Deathless is, the first time I die, revive me with 1 health, stunned, and remove Deathless. So we basically get a second small Leona, which will not trigger her Daybreak. This is a play, but gets us another challenger. I actually really like the Leona package. I've seen some critique where people say, like, how can you take a 6-card Daybreak package? Leona needs a Daybreak 5 times to level up. You'd need to draw pretty much your entire package. And like one answer to that is a Rovun makes extra Daybreak cards. But the much bigger answer is that you just don't have to level up Leona. This is a 2-mana 2/3 that stuns a thing. Leona is a 5-mana 3/5 challenger that stuns a thing. Rovun is a 5-mana 5/5 that creates a card in hand. Like none of these cards are asking anything of you. What else do we have? We have Aurelia over here with Fearsome. This, I was about to say this targets, which is relevant for our deck, but I believe if the unit gets recalled, its curses are obliterated, so not that exciting. And we have a Callista with a Targon's Brace. None of these are fantastic. I think I'm going to take a very safe, very stable Leona mid-range package. Salvage. Alright. Salvage Healer. Give me 2 shakes to look up what on earth Salvage does. Alright, I have refreshed my memory. Salvage lets you buy cards for health. The cards have no items on them. I am spectacularly uninterested in putting a bunch of random cards with no items on them in my deck. Instead, I'm going to go to the healer and do exactly the opposite of that. We're going to cut probably Hera, who is just not a bad card. Not like this is a powerful card. It is a powerful effect, but just like we just had a slow game. What did we get to? 6 mana? Maybe 7. Like, it's just, yeah, fairly unrealistic unless you have a dedicated deck plan like Volibear does. I also like going to this node because the special rule is you obliterate the foe's weakest unit to grant their strongest unit double the stats. They do that at the beginning of each round, and that works really well actually with our enemies have neg 1, neg 0. They're just going to end up shuffling a lot of toughness around and not very much power. Or health and attack, sorry. Yeah, always caught using terms from other games. Going to start us off with this. We have, as usual, our Stomper Shield Vault package. We love to see. And I'm also going to keep an Ancient Malediction around and see, I don't know, what it does for us. You feel an overwhelming sense of dread. Damn. How did they know? We're stomping. Oh, we are not stomping. No, we are no. What does stomping do? I gotta stop saying stomping. We would attack into this Mariah Warden with Ephemeral, mark 1 damage, and achieve nothing. Yeah, okay. These are the sort of advanced lines that people come from miles around to hear from me. Christ. Mariah Warden with Shadow Totem is, that's something. Alright. We have Ancient Malediction up. I don't think we're going to cast this. We could use it to shackle something, and they could get rid of either the terror or the shackle. And that would prevent something from attacking. But I don't know. I just don't even really feel like my opponent has good attacks here, and they'll have to get rid of this shackle over here. I just kind of want to keep up some interaction. Also, look at this Mahira rotting in our hand. If I cast this, I will say that I am the greatest fool in the multiverse, but don't think we're going to be casting it this game. That was odd timing for the focus spell, but not wrong, just... Although I have to say, I always feel like there's something that feels like a little surprising about declaring your attack, and before you hit the button you play burst or focus spells. Completely within the game's rules, completely normal interaction, but just like feels feels odd. Okay. What do we want to do here? I have this feeling that I just want to keep spending my mana, and that makes me want to play a blinded mystic. Grant an ally on one. And then I think we will just silence this thing to give it -0, -8. That's not particularly impactful. I'm not really like playing this blinded mystic because I wanted that specifically. But, Huh. Alright, yeah. Yeah, don't mind if I do.
You're gonna get burned.
Apparently we're gonna get burned. Look who's dead now, young child. Please, Azio, I have done nothing wrong. Okay, our blinded mystic is... Ooh, are we gonna get a great hush? I think we are. We should... Yeah, we should just Rufun. Once again, playing with the board. Ah. Get hushed. Get hushed. Sorry, opponent. It was your challenge. You made that call. You know, back in the day, on release of Targon, Hush was a 3-mana burst, silence a unit this round, make a Hush in your hand. And, or a fleeting Hush, excuse me. And that was, I think it's fair to say that that card was reviled. That feels like an accurate descriptor to me. We're playing our Sunhawk here to get the Daybreak trigger. Obliterate an enemy with less health than me. There's lots of things you can always do in response to Devour. The big two being you can buff your own opponent's health, but also burn on the Devourer wheel. Like if we burnt this to 1, our Blinded Mystic would survive. Okay, so that resolves. I have no real interest in responding to that, I don't think. Now I do need to decide. I can Terra this and play Startle Stomper, or I could play a Solari Priestess. Oh, we should definitely... Yeah. We should definitely Startle Stomper and Terra, just because we have so much damage on board, holy heck. I do kind of want to... If my opponent doesn't immediately play this Terra, I might just spew the second Ancient Malediction on... Oh, I forgot that would happen. As might be obvious from the words I said with my mouth. Alright. What are we doing? Yeah, just Rufun Malediction, I think. Yeah. Oh my god. I don't think I've ever heard that voice line, that's funny. The lustrous horn of the Slaughterfeet Captain's cleverest adversary. It's just one narwhal. Alright. Cope. Alright, our opponent does not scout attack. They do this instead. What do I want to do? I think I want to Terra here. Save my 6/5, mark a bunch of damage. Yeah, that seems solid. Yeah. God, getting the shackles and the Terra on the same unit feels really good. I just kind of like making units useless on board. That's always fun to me. We probably have lethal here. I don't know. I'm just gonna sunburst this. I feel like there's a bunch of weird corner cases where I might want to just get it off board. Yep, that's fine. All right, we win. God, we got it. we actually we did level our Leona that game. Drawing both your ribbons will often do that. Not that that's guaranteed to happen, but like I said, you don't always need to level your Leona. Alright. Interesting. Okay. Enemies have make 1 to go. You target an enemy cursed with shackles. I am immediately intrigued by this Prowling Projectile, which is just a 2-target spell that lets us mess up combat, which is really great because messing up combat is something we're already invested in with Disarmed, and it makes a 4/0. Yeah, this is another 2-target spell, but I think it's a little bit less efficient probably, and this is just this is fine, but yeah, Prowling Projectile is the pick. Goodbye, Mihira. The worst Mihira. For Path of Champions. When I'm at a shop, always the first thing I check is are there any cards in my deck already, or any token cards I expect to make. So if Zoe is in your deck, maybe this super cool start chart is a card you are interested in. But right now, no. I'm seeing my Daybreak bucket kind of come in. There's some new Shurima Daybreak cards that the game is showing to me. But yeah, great. This is not as good as Disarmed. Basically for the inverse reason I was saying before. Disarmed is great because reducing units to 0 power, or even just, from 3 to 2 or whatever, it really just reduces the number of times that they get to effectively utilize their power. And Reunited is less good than Disarmed for pretty much that reason. It doesn't necessarily increase the number of times a unit gets to utilize its power. That was actually unclear. Maybe I'll think over that a bit more and talk about it in future. We have an Unscarred Reaver and a Shipwreck Hoarder. Both of these are fine. I have no real problems with either. Item chest, champion, item chest. We're going to ignore the spells chest. Spells chests are... I think they buffed them recently. They're probably not that bad. But item chests of any kind, either regular or champion, are just so good. Hang on, I made a little diagram. Here we go. Okay, so as you can see, you have a card in your deck. We started with our Solari fella, and he has 1 item on. So these 2 dots represent those 2 items. If I were to get a card reward that was an extra item on him, it gives me 2 extra copies. So not only do I get 4 copies of the new item, but I also get an additional 2 copies of my existing chain vest. So the second one is 3 times as efficient as the first one, and it just keeps going up. When you get a 3rd item, you actually get a full 10 copies from 1 reward choice, 10 full items. So yeah, it's not a linear expansion. It is much better than that. Leona, Morgana, I don't know, something about this just makes me not that interested in buffing my champions. I think I want to go for the item chest instead. Alright, let's get into the Unscarred Reaver fight, see how we do. This is an interesting fight. I always find fighting against the Scargrounds decks in general to be, I don't know, to be pretty intriguing. It makes you make some very different attacks or blocks than you might normally do. Cursing an enemy with terror. probably not going to be the most effective thing against a Scargrounds deck. So I think I'm getting rid of the Ancient Malediction. It is, it's still a card. It would be fine to keep here, but I don't know. I feel like we're on a different plan.
Raise your weapons, Sunwood.
In the War Mother's name. You'll regret when I lift
We didn't have to make this attack, but yeah, we'll just end up with a 3-2 Slurry Soldier with Tough. We'll end up with a 2-3,
This land is ours.
and yeah, it just sort of felt like the right thing to do. We can't kill this Ruthless Raider if they attack with it, and I think that makes me want to Shield Vault, partially because this puts an item on our Solari Soldier, which we have 2 of, and that's just always a little bit of nice synergy. We got Spell Shield again. I think we got that last game before. Forget. Okay, so they can unshackle this if they want to. I think I'm gonna lead with Soldiering, and we'll just see what they do. We have 3 different targeting options, depending on what sort of blocks they are showing to us. This is interesting. I think the most proactive one is Shield Vault, and so I think that's what we're going to do because yeah, we're in a proactive board state. We have better attacks than our opponent. Shield Vault is the one that adds power to our board. These are just purely interactive, and yeah, we got a Studded Leather, which is probably just about the best hit,
my size fool you.
maybe other than Pickaxe. Blinded Mystic. Alright, our opponent plays a Scargrounds, and we get a Blinded Mystic. My opponent can unshackle their Ruthless Raider, unless we cast any of these cards on it. I think, once again, I'm just going to make the most proactive play. Blinded Mystic puts the most power on board, which I'm going to start splitting between my 2 Solari Soldiers, and it's going to make this Ruthless Raider double shackles. So we should have lethal right now. Yep, great. Oh, amazing. I wasn't really expecting that to go through. I thought they might have a Frostbite or something. I always feel a little bit lonely when you get the victory screen but you don't have a champion in play, so there's no voice line. I'm like, it's a big empty silence where I wish my champion was. Ooh. We got some interesting choices here. Hextech Protobelt is a great item. Lets you double spell with champions a lot of the time. Would here reduce it to 0 mana. Less good on a Daybreak card because part of the utility of Hextech Protobelt 1 is being able to go like champion card all in one turn, get a really big turn, and you cannot do that with this Sun Guardian, unfortunately. Here is a big boy for being a 2/3. That's fine. General of Dunes Daybreaker. When you activate another Daybreak, grant the weakest enemy vulnerable. This is it's a good card. Very, very Daybreak. 4 mana 4/4 square stats. Good Daybreak trigger and prioritize our other Daybreak cards. I don't really love this Quick Strike Blade on the General of the Dunes in sort of general. Because it just seems a little bit... No, you know, this would be good. This would be a good pick. But like the reason I'm meandering is because we're getting over to Facebreaker, which is going to mix coin, which is irrelevant. But it's going to stun 2 enemies for 3 mana, and we're going to shackles both of them, and probably just get in for a bunch of attacks, and that's going to be great. All right. This is interesting. So we can throw more stats on our mid-game units, or we can go further in on Facebreaker for a more like prison style thing. I think I'm kind of, yeah, I'm here for the, yeah, especially with Reunited. A 1-cost Poro turns into sort of like a more real card. What do we cut? What do we cut? Our deck's kind of gas. Is it literally, like, is it Hush? Is it Lisa and Dolly? I don't even know. I mean, we could heal 1 health, but I think we should. We got this Facebreaker. I think we should cut the Dark Binding. I don't love doing this because this is Morgana's champion card. And so like having it in your deck is useful because if you get an item on it, you now have an item on all of your Morgana cards. But we're gonna try it and see how it goes. We didn't have any items on it to begin with, so you know. I'm hoping that through the magic of video editing, you folks did not experience much dissonance there, but it's actually the next day. Hello. I went to bed. I was tired. But fortunately we are still at Sejuani, we are still on our Morgana deck. I'm going to do a quick refresher. Reunited, Disarmed, Bound Wings, yep. And we have the sad Riptide Battery Morgana, which is does not work how I thought it did, or is possibly bugged, or has possibly changed functionality since last I checked. Alright. Sejuani is an interesting match. She produces really big overwhelmers, and that's kind of just what you have to be prepared to deal with. Unfortunately, I think we are. I think it was earlier in this run that I mentioned sort of the tempo idea where we play an overstated 1-drop or 2-drop, and then we just defend it and ride it all the way through 25 life. And I expect that to go quite well for us here. Alright. Now we have to make a decision. We can Prowling Projectile and shackle something. My opponent has a lot of mana. They haven't spent a lot of mana. So our shackles might be less impactful than normal. We could pass and try to Solari Sunhawk their play, presuming that they play something on 4, probably like a Wolf Rider. Or we could Lisa and Dolly either the Protoporo or the their 4-drop. I really feel like if my opponent doesn't use any of their 7 mana, I'm advantaged. But maybe I should attack. Yeah, I think I have a good attack here. You know, my opponent can't really make any reasonable blocks. We do only get in for 3, but now we get a sort of like very free Lisa and Dolly on their Wolf Rider and start to tax their mana when they're already pretty behind on board. Or maybe not behind on board, but we have a lot of ability to interact with their board, so I would not be feeling thrilled to bits if I were them. What do we want to do? This is a slow spell, so now is kind of the chance to do it. Do we want to do a defensive Facebreaker or an aggressive Facebreaker? We could silence their Wolf Rider, we could stun their Wolf Rider, but what do we do with the leftover 2 mana? That's not that impressive. Gosh. I think I'm going to play the Blinded Mystic here, just because it is the only option that, or it is the option that contributes most meaningfully to the board, and I think I'm just going to buff my tough here. This silence is not particularly impactful, but yeah, I just not like, I'm feeling pretty good about this board state. Basically, my opponent agrees with me. They do not have any good attacks. And now I think we'll get to go Leona, stun their biggest thing into Prowling Projectile, curse their Sejuani, and attack with 3 of our units. And I'm feeling pretty good about this.
You own what you taste.
What do we want to give 1-0? What are our breakpoints? 3 is a breakpoint that all of my creatures are meeting right now. I could give 1 extra to Leona so that I could challenge something and damage it, but like I don't know, that just doesn't seem to do anything for me here. I think what makes sense is that our only other breakpoint is this Wolf Rider on 4, so we will Lisa and Dolly and deal 1 to the Sejuani, cursing it, and I think we feel pretty good about that. We even actually, I sort of open to leveling up the Leona this game if that does end up happening. Or like this is immobile, and I don't think I want to attack with this Poro Fly. I feel like I have really good attacks here, and I don't need to like add 1 bad attack into the mix. My opponent's life total is not so low that I'm happy to just start murdering my creatures on their blockers. I think we can play a little bit more conservatively than that.
I don't need the man. I want the monster.
It approaches.
Okay. My opponent has just enough to unshackle this with the Sejuani, which does make their attack better. They have a very good attack with the Sejuani, but I think we have multiple different stuns here, and also a silence that's not really relevant, but it's hard for me to figure out exactly which of them is optimal. Sunhawk plays to board, but it stuns their already immobile Sejuani, which doesn't sound great. I feel like we're just going to, we have 6 mana, we can save 3 of it for next turn. We can do this to extra curse this Sejuani, which doesn't matter for this turn. It's going to be stunned either way, but I don't mind making them pay 4 mana to actually utilize the Sejuani. Right, and now we have another question, which is, what's our attack look like? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17? Or... Okay. Okay, yes, but we'll get a Poro. We can do this, immobilize both of their remaining creatures, get a Poro, and open attack for 19. Provided my opponent does not have something like a fast speed frostbite, which they easily could, but I still just am feeling great about that. Right, opponent, what you got? Nothing. Sorry, Sejuani. I am ruler of the Winter's Claw now.
Daylight everlasting.
Daylight everlasting. You know, I don't think that would be good for the climate. I'm beginning to think that you Solari might have unrealistic political goals. Alright. Oh, interesting. Okay. Farsight Alteration is a pretty messed up item. If you, particularly on low drop champions, it just like allows you to build your entire deck around them and optimize for them in a way that you really can't if you don't have a Farsight Alteration or, 8 copies of them in your deck. I'm just not sure that we even care about our champions, or that we even care about card advantage enough to take this Farsight Alteration. I'm really trying to figure out how it compares to Colossal Hammer. Probably just on our Morgana as a more mid-range option. But you know what, we should care about card advantage. We're going to take Farsight Alteration on our Morgana, because even if Riptide Battery doesn't level her up, it's still a very effective tool. Gosh, so many interesting choices. this run. See, here we have Crush, which is absolutely this is probably my top common power in Abstract. And we have some growing threats, which is exactly sort of where you want to be with Crush. But also, Bouncing Blades has just an extremely powerful interaction with Bound Wings. And I think between Disarmed Bound Wings and Bouncing Blades, we will be able to just like really lock down anything our opponent is doing. So I'm definitely going to take it here. That's a playstyle I love. Now we have another question, which is, can we beat Poros, which is a a very, very, very strong deck. And the answer is maybe. But I think that regardless, I'm actually just going to go for the Abyssal Eye. Poros is a really scary fight, a really difficult fight. And if our Morgana were 2-star and started on 2 mana, I might be more interested. But your opponent starting on 3 mana when you start on 1 mana is just, that does not feel good. We have a great start here. Startled Stomper, Prowling Projectile to trigger our Phase Favor Fated. Phase Favor Fated Fae. Startled Stomper. Somewhat unfortunate that we drew our Morgana instead of our plan of trying to Farsight Alteration it. I actually didn't think about it, but Blade's Edge also works really well with Riptide Battery. Just save 1 spell mana and you have guaranteed plunder. This doesn't do anything to the Boxtopus's health, but I'm still really happy Blade's Edging it here, just to put a Shackles on it, spend my turn's mana, and prevent a 2 damage attack. I think that sounds great to me. Now we have an interesting question. Do we want to get our Startled Stomper on board right away? Or do we want to use as many of our fleeting spells as possible, while also saving that 1 spell mana? What do I think my opponent is going to do? The foe's allies have Nexus Strike. Draw 1. I think my opponent is going to have lots of small units. It's also complicated because if we're triggering this Fated, we also get a Poro from our Prowling Projectile. And I think that makes me just want to Startled Stomper. It just gets on board much more than any of the other options. This is interesting. My opponent unshackles right away. I was expecting them to have something proactive to play, but I don't hate this. This feels advantageous for me. And now I think we get to do this burst. This is fast, alright. Get to do this. Have an amazing block, have an extra Poro. They will be able to unshackle one of these. They will be able to unshackle one of those. Is that an argument for maybe Shield Vault? I don't think it is. If they unshackle one of these, they have a good challenge on our Poro. They only take 1 damage because they're tough. But that's such small beams. Like, that's a really slow way to affect the board. And I'm just kind of happy sitting back and doing that. Okay. Okay. This is pretty much exactly as we drew it up. And yeah, they get to draw 1 from their Nexus Strike power. But I think we're feeling good. Okay, this turn we really want to save 1 mana for a Blade's Edge for plundering next turn. And I think that makes our turn something like Solari Soldier, Blade's Edge. Try to get a good attack. Ooh, I'm loving my opponent just like casting their shackles every time they appear. That's we're really taxing their mana. Alright, my opponent got a Fereth, which I love that it can't block. I don't necessarily love that they will have a Fisher Whack. That's actually quite good for them. If we're making this attack, what are my opponent's blocks? It's like the Poro here and the more damaged Pablo here. So what does that mean for us? I mean, that's pretty good for us, first of all. I feel quite confident that is a really good attack for us. And I think what I'm going to do is shackle the more damaged Pablo and see if we can get a block from the less damaged Pablo and get it off the board. Because these challenges are presenting some sort of risk for us. Alright, just like we drew it up. And this is another interesting one. I'll have to see what they do with their first action, because there's a possibility...
Nice to meet you. I'm Isla.
Hi, Ala. I wonder if we should let them trade their Boxtopus for our Startled Stomper with an attack. We'll only take one damage if they attack with everything. And then afterwards we will get to play our Morgana without a tough unit on board. I think if we're doing that, it makes sense to Blade's Edge their face right now as a way to pass with absolute certainty that they won't just end the round.
Success gets you noticed around here.
Alright, now this is different. They're going to Vulnerable Challenge in front of their Shell Shocker. And then what's their other attack? I mean, they don't, after that, they don't have a good... They don't have a good attacker for this Solari Soldier. They probably just Challenger it, put 1 damage on it. After... Oh, they can't free the Pablo. Oh. Alright, well now I think my opponent has pretty bad attacks, but surely they will play this Fisherwhack. I think we pass, they play the Fisherwhack, and then we Morgana. And we're really hoping to... Oh, I completely forgot about her play trigger. Yeah, this is amazing. Our Startled Stomper still goes down, not ideal, but we prevent sort of all their good attacks. Can you target an enemy because of the shackles? Yeah, I mean, I guess the cannon barrages no longer count as targeting because we don't get any shackles on them either. Alright, no worries. I'll definitely be taking that off, but really thought it worked. Okay, what do we have now? My opponent is on a high life total, and they also have some high value shackles. So if they commit to board, they will probably get to either unshackle one thing and maybe play one thing, or they will double or triple spell. What does that mean for me? I feel strongly that I'm on the aggressive here, and I think the answer is we just go Startled Stomper, Lisa and Dolly their biggest thing after that, and have either Shield Vault or Blade's Edge up to interact with whatever remains of their board. Oh, and also Hush. That was unlucky. I ruined Rex. I'm glad this card exists, because on the Riptide Rex, I was never sure if Riptide Rex was the shark or the crazy looking Yordle. And I'm just now realizing that the crazy looking Yordle from that might be Petty Officer, but they look very different. They look really different. Alright, yep. We can Lisa and Dolly get 2 shackles on the Rex, and...
Look what I can do.
It is a delight to watch you grow, Lisa.
Okay. I'm fine with this 0-2, which I think means I want to Blade's Edge the 1-2, shackles it, and get in a pretty big attack. Oh, this levels our Morgana. Okay, this is amazing. Holy heck, we're going to level our Morgana and get the world's biggest trigger from her attack trigger. Going to deal 3 to all cursed enemies, which will just obliterate their entire board, pretty much. Yeah, look at that. Oh. It's interesting, this deck has a lot of lines. I feel like I'm
Bear this burden.
running through a lot, and honestly not... I think there's still a lot that I'm not seeing. Alright, I'm feeling very advantaged at this point. We have so many resources and my opponent has so few resources. Okay, so we can Blade's Edge this and put a 2-cost Shackles on it, at which point they will probably unshackles it, attack in. How do we feel about that? Maybe instead of that, we play a little bit more to the board by shield vaulting like this and getting a common item on our Morgana. And this means that they can only unshackle their Ruined Rex, which we would be able to Morgana's Dark Binding. Or even just block with Lisa and Dolly, perhaps. They do still have 3 unknown cards in hand, so they've got things going on. What do we get? An Overwhelm. Alright. Oh my gosh, my opponent just played Fishwhack on their cursed creature. And now I get to double curse it and get a 4-mana Shackles and then attack and kill my opponent and most of their entire board. In fact, their entire board. Okay, no worries. If they have anything dangerous, we still have multiple pieces of interaction. I mean, they can... What do I do here? I think I'm still on plan open attack, and this is kind of a waste of value because these stuns don't really do anything. Like, we have good blocks lined up for these anyway. But it means that our open attack is just so lethal. Open attack, for anyone who hasn't run into that puddles, is you attack as your first action of the turn before your opponent has had priority to cast any focus or slow speed effects. That ought to do it. Alright. Luden's Tempest might be something to consider on Morgana, but I have to say, I just think
Our suffering was not in vain.
our suffering was not in vain, Morgana. I just feel like I don't really need to amp up her level 2. Like, I feel pretty advantaged by the time I get to level 2. Alright. We love item stacking here. We know all about that. Destroy a unit's equipment, and if it's a follower, silence it. 1 mana. Demacia slow. That's kind of interesting. It's handy that silence does not remove curses. This is fine specifically in our deck just as a way to trigger Bound Wings, but I'm not seeing anything that you know, the power level of these cards is all pretty comparable, and I think you could make your arguments up and down about any of them. But when that sort of thing happens, we really just go for item stacking. We have 2 Blinded Mystics already. There are 2 Blinded Mystics here, and we're going to add 4 Rally Banners to our deck, and it's going to be really good. Blinded Mystic is also a fragile unit, so it's kind of good to get Rally Banner on anyway. We get 300 gold from here, but like we go from 880 to 1180, and when would that ever matter? It's hard for me to see. Alright, we have Shadow Totem, which is often a power that I do enjoy, that I do appreciate, but mostly on our Stalker's Blade champs. In this case, both our champs have play effects, and while Leona does have Challenger, which is nice with Shadow Totem, I just don't think it's particularly powerful here. I think I am more interested in other effects, adding power, adding, you know, pretty much any epic item. Yeah, I'm actually going to reroll this because I don't think Locket of the Iron Solari is the closest to being a pick here. Probably on Morgana just as a real way to roadblock aggression, but I just think we can do something more proactive. Interesting. So we did not do something more proactive. these are fine. I would probably put Chain Vest on, I guess, Morgana again. We aren't making any. Oh, we are making Bouncing Blades. Does it make sense to give our Morgana augment? I don't like making this pick, and therefore I'm going to reroll. Morgana Spell Shield or Morgana Barrier? I don't think I'm using my last reroll. I think I'm feeling a little burned. I'm feeling a little like maybe I overestimated how many items were better than my than the first run. Yeah, okay. We'll give Morgana. No, because Morgana already riptides and like just gets on board in an enormous way. I think I'm going to Morgana Spell Shield, and I feel okay about that. This is the run where we have the Ancient Malediction already, yeah? It is. So once again, item stacking. Solari Sunhawk, item stacking. Bottled Constellation is an uncollectible card. Yeah, lots of good stuff going on here, and we have a lot of gold, so we might just be able to grab all of it. Titanic Wake. This is not a Titanic Wake deck, right? We don't... Yeah, we are literally never doing that. Let's use our reroll. Excellent. I'm really happy to see that. Quick Draw is a powerful option. We do have another shop and another item chest. So we could... This is a rare item shop. We could theoretically try and save 300 gold to get another power from there. I think... Alright, so when you're in a shop, adding items to your deck is so good that the first copy is often extremely good. So I'm going to buy the first copy of this Ancient Malediction and add 3 Pyromantic Wakes to our deck. I'm going to buy the first copy of this Solari Sunhawk and add 3 Crystal Carriers to our deck. Now the rate is somewhat reduced. I can add 1 more Pyromantic Wake to my deck or 1 more Crystal Carrier. How does that compare to an extra power? And also, do we want this Bottled Constellation? I mean, I can't quite justify why, but I don't think this is a good Bottled Constellation deck. Like, yes, it makes you a ton of mana, but I think where we are really mana crushed is the early turns, where Bottled Constellation doesn't actually make you that much mana, and card selection is really important for maximizing your mana. Bottled Constellation does take up 1 card space in your hand, you know? You draw this instead of another card, and I just think it's quite similar in power level to our deck as it exists. So we could buy all our copies of Sunhawk and Malediction and then go here and buy another power, or we could save some gold just in case there were any other cards worth buying at this next shop. This is... I mean, this is really just like so up for debate. I don't think that anyone can come down too harshly on any option here. I am going to leave, save some gold, and see if we can manage to grab another item at the next shop. Alright, just like we drew it up. Ravun can get out of here. He's not the sort of early play we need. Oh, and also the round start, the foe gets a mana gem, so they're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, which is going to be pretty bad for us. I think it makes Ancient Malediction less interesting to us, and it makes these stuns more interesting to us, because my opponent is just going to have a lot of mana to pay for 1 Terra and 1 Shackle. Farsight Alteration Curse always comes in your mulligan. Alright, great. Quick draw coming in hot.
This'll take the chill off.
Do we attack? No, this attack just looks bad to me. I think we can do better by just keeping our Stomper around. Alright. My opponent will in fact go 3, 5, 7, 9, 10. So we could Blade's Edge, take 2. They might not even attack Blade's Edge. Or we could Solari Sunhawk to get extra mana next turn. And I think the extra mana is going to be the play. We have several good interactive spells here. I think we can get in a great attack next turn. We just need the mana. And we could have chosen to save the spell mana, which also would have helped us there. But I don't really see any advantage to doing that compared to getting our Crystal Carrier on the board. Okay, we have a quick draw Ravun. How do I feel about that? What is the alternative? The alternative is Blade's Edge, this, see what they play, stun it, they unshackle probably, and we Terra this and attack with 2/3/3s. That sounds really bad. This Tavern Keeper is kind of doing us in. I think we'll Ravun. And God, I'm not feeling thrilled with the prospect of having to grind our opponent out, but we've generated a good amount of mana advantage, so maybe it'll work. We can attack with Ravun. We have all pretty good blocks. Reducing this Osiris Spirit Walker to 1 health is just going to have him swept up pretty easily by a Blade's Edge, and I think I feel quite good about that. Ravun making the Zenith Blade, which wants Zenith Blades to be in your deck to draw, is awkward. I don't love that. And my opponent is at 10 mana, which I absolutely don't love. My opponent is dealing 3 to all other units. Well, that's a nightmare. What? What are we going to do about that? And also, it's just occurred to me now that maybe playing this Ravun was not as good, given we had a Morgana in hand, and we could have set up for a Riptide battery this turn. But you know, you live and learn. Christ, what are we doing? We can't even, like, we can Blade's Edge our Stomper to trigger Fated, but it doesn't save it, unfortunately. So I think my opponent is, this is probably my opponent's last play of the turn. So I have to treat them as though they will attack the next time they get priority. And I think what that means is I am going to let this resolve. And then we are going to, we feel pretty good about Blade's Edging this. If we Ancient Malediction this, my opponent can get rid of one of the curses but not the other, which would probably lead to us taking 6 life. I think or we could Leona, stun this, and have good blocks. I mean, that's for the best, isn't it? I kind of liked the idea of using this Blade's Edge this turn. It seems like a really advantageous turn to use it, but unfortunately I think we just have to play our unit and make our blocks. I'm upset. I'm upset. Oh. So we can block 3 here.
Face my shield.
We can block 5 here and get our Deathless trigger.
Face my shield.
I think this is for the best. We're relatively close to leveling Leona, but she doesn't actually really do anything leveled up other than get 1/1 if you don't have any further Daybreak cards to play. So yeah, I think we make this trade, even though I'm feeling a bit unhappy. I just really hope that my opponent doesn't have any sort of big, easy sources of card advantage in hand, like a, I don't know, a War Mother's Call or something. Alright, oh, we lost our Crystal Carrier. No, I forgot about that one. Alright, our Solari Soldier is free, so that's something. Okay, this is fine. This is not card advantage. It's granting all allies in their deck +2/+2.
Such thing as Yetis.
God. Oh, this is feeling bad. This is feeling pretty bad, folks. They have so much mana to get rid of our curses. Jesus. Okay. I definitely want to leave up 1 mana for a Blade's Edge next turn. So I have 4 mana to spend. I really think I want to Blade's Edge this, and therefore I really think I want to play one of these spells on one of their large units. We could attack, they block, we Ancient Malediction, and if they block with this, we die. Oh, this feels... I would describe this as reasonably horrendous. I believe my plan is to Ancient Malediction here. They cast both the curses and attack with everything. I take a nightmarish amount of damage and kill the Wolf Rider. Jesus, I guess that's where we're at. And I suppose it should be this one. Okay. Yep. I don't love the feeling of being correct. Oh, but I have the attack token now. What am I talking about? Okay. Jesus. Alright. That's somewhat better. Not a ton, but somewhat. What I really have to hope is that they have a, specifically like a slow or a fast spell to start us off next turn. Because if they do, or even a unit with a skill, I get to Blade's Edge in response and then use my first priority on Morgana. They do not have another play, and we are going to take 1,000,000 damage, and I don't see... we have the 2 spell mana. Yes. Alright, yeah, this is a little bit better. And we can Blade's Edge at the same time, so if we do get another priority, we can Morgana. Another priority pre-combat, I should say. Oh, we do. Okay. This is a start. What are we cursing with Shackles? It's going to be 6 mana, so it is actually going to stop the unit this turn. So I guess we just Shackles their biggest overwhelmer.
Such beauty and mortality. Welcome, anguish.
Okay. That was not that good. That was not a very good Riptide. What are we doing? We're gonna gain some life with our Morgana,
Into the dark.
who's at 5 of 8, which is not not very many. I'm not feeling very good about this match actually. Maybe I was wrong to head this way. I'm not used to Feral Mystic sort of doing this much. And I think we have to trade here. We do only take 5, you know, and we have a Rivuin in hand. We're gonna get some card advantage next turn. Maybe we're actually okay. What do I need? I don't even know what I need. Alright. Hush. Silence unit this round. Doesn't hurt. That brings this Feral Mystic down to a 2-2. So we'll probably try to set up that for next turn, or if we can make my opponent block with the Mystic this turn. Okay. I think step 1 is Rivuin. And hope we get a good Daybreak card. We do. Okay. Okay. We still don't have any good attacks with this Solari Sunhawk. Do we even replay it then? I mean, what's the alternative? Just Blades Edging a thing that they then immediately unshackles. That would take 2 spell mana away from them next turn. Or Blades Edging them from 26 to 25, or Blades Edging... Actually, yeah, Blades Edging the Wolf Rider, so it's an X1, a 5-1. That actually does seem impactful. Alright. The unshackles, and then pass the turn, I assume. I still don't have any good attacks. I hope we can set up a block with this Hush. Ooh. Ooh, okay. 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 There's so much going on. Really good Hush here. Probably a necessary silence here. I just don't think I can deal with this huge challenger messing up my blocks and taking out my Morgana. We can't... Oh wait, we can. This is a drop. This is a 2-drop. So we could also Solari Sunhawk instead of Blinded Mystic if that were a thing we were interested in. The Blinded Mystic buffing my Morgana by 1 does actually give us a relevant extra block over here. What's this base? This would still be attacking as a 7/7 with no text. And I think that makes me want to Sunhawk. We'll see what my opponent's last card is. Hopefully it's something bad. Okay. So, no blocks for this Morgana. Can block here. Can block here and take 5 less. So we would be taking 12 down to 8. Sorry, 12 down to 7. And then also we can Blades Edge this, which would be taking 7 down to 12. We could also Ancient Malediction, though that means that we cannot Blinded Mystic this turn. But maybe that's just worth it. Yeah, this actually sounds like it's starting to look like something. Now Morgana levels up, but I believe she still can't block. Ah, no. Yeah, she can now make this block that I couldn't make before. All right. Okay. We sort of we're holding together. This is sort of the reversal. We still need to plan to deal with this Isgar, but it is going to be either it or the it that stares is going to be silenced next round. So that, you know, that's something. We have 21 cards left. They have 15. All their units are huge because of that Boon of the Ancestors or whatever it was. Ooh, but we have Hush, another Hush, bring this down to a 7/7. Okay. Curses and the strongest enemy that isn't cursed with shackles. So if we attack here, it looks like this. If we put this on the stack, it resolves after Morgana's skill. But does it... Hang on. Deal 3. Okay, so it targets not as part of resolution, but as part of casting. Okay. In that case, I think we... Shoot. I really want to make this attack before they cast another huge idiot, and before they unshackle their it that stares, but it also removes my ability to have a blinded mystic die this turn. And actually, nah, saying that out loud, I think that's actually just okay. The other thing is that we could hush this Usgar the Ancient if we wanted to take away its regenerate for the turn, but I don't think we can do the extra 7... whatever it is, 4 damage. That doesn't... I don't see any capacity to do that. Alright, handy. My opponent has all 2-cost curses. They are going to uncurse... well, I was going to say uncurse their entire board, but it all died, which is fortunate. God. Alright. The dual Usgars is giving us some grief. I think we need to save this Zenith Blade for if we draw our second Leona. We will need to use it as a Leona stun. But I think for now, I just get to Blinded Mystic, give my... what am I giving the +1/+1 to? Ravun. I think we're at the place in the game where we are actually interested in trading Ravun because we are going to be drawing and casting 1 card around for the rest of the entire game.
Through the darkness, I see something new.
All right. We're holding together. We got a Hush. We got a Zenith Blade. I mean, they're on 7 knife. We're on 29. Like I think we have done the reversal. Very happy to see this, by the way.
The storm approaches.
All right. My opponent has 4, so they can unshackles anything that I double target, but nothing that I triple target. I think we need to break out this Hush. Go Hush, Blade's Edge, Prowling Projectile. Put triple shackles on this Usgar. Jump here, and there's a lethal attack back. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. My opponent probably won't attack. Is there any reason to put this any specific place? I think if we have 1 more buff, we get Ravun up to this 9 breakpoint, and that sounds relevant. Oh shoot, I actually forgot that they can attack with the 6/8 vanilla Usgar. They did unshackle that one. But I think this is still the plan. We will have to sort of play a little bit differently, like make a trade and a jump. That's it's pretty bad for us. Okay. If we put this here,
My path is set.
we rally. We attack with a Ravun and a Morgana. We attack with all of our units. Morgana will shackle the unshackled Usgar. That is their strongest uncursed unit. The Weirding Stones will block Morgana. The Ursine Spirit Caller will block Ravun, and my opponent will take 5. we can't do that. We can't do that, and that's a bit... That makes this a bit difficult. Although, no, sorry. We can challenge with this, right? So we're... Yes. Yes. This should work. Okay.
Do not look away.
Alright, these two will be cursed. Alright, good. We drag the waiting stones over here. They block my Ravun and they take 8. Please, God, tell me I can count. I can't count because I forgot the Morgana skill, but we won anyway. Which actually means that the whole block I was agonizing about before this was also...
Our suffering was not in vain.
Good God, that game. That was... we were in it there, folks. I can't believe more than anything that we ended up on max life. Morgana comes in handy. Oh, this is new. Give an ally spell shield this round and curse it with shackles. Wow. This card sucks, I think. This reads really bad to me. It's got a summoning beacon. Would probably be like as in choosing this whole package would be good. But Black Shield sounds pretty awful. Yeah, I'm just going to take Fearsome on the Solaria Sunhawk because we want more of those crystal carriers. This is just a really good early drop. Alright. In the shop, instantly see Blinded Mystic, adding Overwhelm to our Ralliers and Ravun, but I probably don't want to add this Cursed Symbol to Ravun. I think it's pretty often that you play units and trade them on the same turn, so Cursed Symbol is not as bad as it might often sound. You know, your opponent can never force you to play your Cursed Symbol unit. I mean, they can, but if your opponent is forcing you into it, you're doing it because it's advantageous. And what is our power? Oh, wow. Okay, so that's Ravun, not Leona. Is it just the one? Is it literally just the one? I mean, oh no, our allies have 1-0. So it's Leona. It's a level 2 Morgana. It's a Ravun. That is it. Alright, this is not as impressive as it would have been if we got it earlier in the round. Earlier in the adventure. Do we have any... We don't have any interesting sort of 5 power or hand buff cards in this. I'm still going to take it. I think it's still going to be really good, and I am just going to buy all of these Blinded Mystics as well. I'm less interested in the curse symbol for Ravun because we have Treferian Might. That's sort of like a really powerful combo. A lot of the time is Cursed Symbol and Treferian Might, but you generally like less interested on units that are already triggering the Might themselves. What is our cut? Is it just Lisa and Dolly now that we have a ton of really good Blinded Mystics? They fill that sort of same, 3 or 4 utility, interact with your opponent to get ahead on board slot. I think it is. Sorry, Lisa and Dolly. I'm also very confused as to what Dolly is. She looks like, her construction reminds me of the folks from Jin's followers. Like the Maker, etc. But she seems to have Morgana voice lines. I don't know. There's some lore there I'm not privy to, I think. Alright. I think we're literally just keeping this. Early Sunhawk. Some ways to sort of buff it, keep it alive, interact with our opponent. Blinded Mystic for probably for later on. A rally is not impressive if you only have a Solari Sunhawk on board, but Mystic is a 4-mana 3/2 with text on her own, so it's not as though she is just a rally. Who would pay 4 mana for just a rally? Ha ha ha. Closed beta players know what I'm talking about. It's sad. I miss you. I miss you, original rally. Yep, I think it's pretty easy. My opponent has no mana. I'm just gonna Blade's Edge their thing. And then on my turn, I kind of expect them to have something extra. But I'm just going to lead with this Solaris Sunhawk anyway, because I just think if I passed and they played a big thing, I don't really see what situation I would be attacking in other than the exact one that just happened. Who's this? Just some person. Alright. Ha. Okay. This is interesting. I think... Oh gosh. Okay. So... Shackles is 2 mana. So if we were to simply Prowling Projectile this, they would be able to unshackles it and attack. We do have this extra Prowling Projectile. We have this Facebreaker, which only costs 2. You know, the mana efficiency angle is kind of doing it for me here. It's really efficient. After this, we can Blade's Edge, probably the Thorny Toad, particularly if they are... Actually, I think we'll Blade's Edge whatever they unshackle. This is not like the most thrilling tempo play in the world, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty comfortable about where we are, and I'm hoping to get the opponent to waste some more mana. Alright, great. This works for me. Oh, we could also Blade's Edge Face and Plunder Poro, but no, I think I'm saving the 1 spell mana, Blade's Edging, Blade's Edging the Thorny Toad. Because this Jewel Hunters is, if everything goes according to plan, this Jewel Hunters is going to get absolutely swept up by our Morgana's Cannon Barrages. We have 1 coin, which is not typically a useful amount of coin to have. I guess we can draw our other Facebreaker. I'm trying to think of if there's any circumstances where like playing the coin actually does anything for us, but don't know that there is.
Here's a big one.
Alright, I feel fine about this, not thrilled, fine. But we do get to curse this with shackles and hope that just at least 1 barrage has to hit the Jewel Hunters.
I have found such beauty in mortality. Feel my pain.
Alright. Yeah, feeling really good. In fact, I think this was perfect, right? It clears their whole board. Got him. We get to attack for a lot. We've targeted 5 out of 8 already. We've targeted 5 out of 8. How we do that? Blade's Edge. Oh my god, I hate this scroll. Blades. Oh yeah, the Facebreaker. Okay. Alright. Our opponent's doing some things. I think we're just going to continue on our very, very mana efficient hunt and blind a Mystic, buff our Morgana, silence their elusive. That's a very straightforward play. Yep. No worries. Should we Blade's Edge this and have it shackled on upkeep? Or, you know, at the start of our next round. I guess it's going to be shackles either way, right? I think I want to do as big an open attack as I can get because their next turn is going to include a Nautilus. And they're not that far away from deep. So that means... Is that Startle Stomper or Prowling Projectile? Or Shield Vault? In a perfect world where we could just guarantee pickaxe, it would be a shield vault. But, also this plunder pourer. Gosh. Alright, we're going to keep it fairly simple. Startled Stomper and save a spell mana. Although we could, if they're playing Nautilus next turn, they won't be able to pay 4 to unshackle this. No, I think we just want the spell mana. I really feel like there will be a big turn with just casting a billion spells. But I do think we do this attack and we level up our Morgana for the extra damage and to clear off this Abyssal Eye. Wait. If we were doing this line, it was strictly better to Blade's Edge last turn, right? Because we get the Blade's Edge in hand. I don't think I I don't think I was very clever there. I think I talked myself out of the correct line.
Feel my pain.
Alright. A level Nautilus is very, very frightening. Because sea monster allies cost 4 less is... Oh, that's a bad time. That's a goddamn bad time. On the plus side we have multiple blinded mystics, which should clear away the deep buffs quite effectively. So what does that mean for us? Oh, we also have another blinded mystic in play. Do we have any way to kill it? No, only deal 1 to enemies. Okay. I think we plunder Poro. And it's plausible we cast an interactive spell to get rid of this Nautilus. Yeah, I guess I'll just cast. I mean, discounted versus undiscounted doesn't matter, but I guess we'll trigger Fated. And put a Shackles on this Nautilus. Just so they cannot immediately attack with their 13/13. 13/13 Overwhelm. Oh, we got a pickaxe. Alright. Feeling good about that. We could Blade's Edge this Mystic with the idea to Blade's Edge it again for a free rally. We're going to pass here because if my opponent just does this, I feel pretty good. And if they do something that levels their Nautilus, we should get a chance to play our Leona. Alright. We could Hush. Hush, block with Blinded Mystic. Blade's Edge. Nautilus to put the shackles on it. Attack for lethal. Yep, that makes sense. Blade's Edge. Or we could Prowling Projectile. Does it matter? I don't think it matters. Although actually we should Blade's Edge this and use our Morgana attack trigger on the Nautilus just because it's tough. Alright, I think we're doing it.
Only darkness.
Oh. Sorry, Eshim, yeah. Eshima.
Own your frailty.
Alright, so everything will be shackled. Nautilus will level up. Oh, that's funny. Leveling up on a lethal attack.
Bear this burden.
Yeah, bear this burden. I hope the Titan of the Depths doesn't come to claim me. What did I just say? All will drown. Starting with you, buddy. Yeah, got him.
Embrace this ephemeral triumph.
I don't love that voice line. Embrace this ephemeral triumph. I won the adventure. Why isn't Morgana proud of me? Hmm. Hmm. Alright, a cool 1000 champion XP. Brings us up to level 9, which is about when I start thinking of maybe playing like Victor runs. Let's check out what level ups we got. I think 8 was the rare relic, and so 9 is... 9 was Lisa and Dolly, starts with studded leather. Very little to say about that. That's good. It turns them into a badger bear that curses an enemy with shackles, except it's 2 shackles. Pretty effective. We're 2 days off being able to 2-star Morgana. That's what I decided to do with my shards. But now that I've got a little perspective, let's reread this. Round end, deal 2 to cursed enemies and 1 to the enemy nexus for each curse in their hand. Oh, this is really good. Yeah, this is going to kill a lot of stuff. I can imagine, you know, in that tough Feral Mystic game, it would have been really effective to just like have my opponent's cursed units being consistently chipped away. I think that would have made a lot of difference. Alright, Riptide Battery does not work. I really thought it did, or does, or used to, or something. Chemtech Duplicator, having played more, I'm not that interested in, because part of the beauty of Morgana's 1-star power is that you can target them with anything. Just anything at all. And spells is a subset of anything. This would probably be really good, but I think a lot of the time when you're actually casting a spell on your opponent's thing, Chemtech Duplicator would be overkill. Archangel Staff would be fine, but I think, well, you know, hold on a second. Guardian Angel, I always look for opportunities to use Guardian Angel. Reviving with 1 health can be a really powerful way to abuse summon effects, but I just can't see... I mean, it could let us get in an extra attack with a level 2 Morgana. Yeah, I don't think I'm there yet. Laurent Blade Rack is always a classic, and again, like, would be effective here. But I think what I'm going to do right now is Grand General's counterplan. If our Morgana dies, this gives us a extra copy of Morgana to curse an enemy with shackles twice again. Very effective. If our Morgana dies in combat, we get to play it again, but perhaps most of all, it just gives us a Morgana's Dark Binding every single turn, and I think this alleviates a lot of the more difficult positions of the deck, which is when you're out of mana, your opponent has a big shackled unit, and all you can do is pass, the round ends, your opponent gets the first action, and they unshackle their big unit and open attack. That's I think that's sort of like been the most difficult common line that occurs. And if you always have a Morgana's Dark Binding in hand available for you, it's going to make those much easier. When we get the second common slot, we'll probably, with Grand General's counterplan, we'll probably pop in a Lost Chapter, refill your spell mana when summoned, and just sort of get that Dark Binding ball rolling as a defensive layer. And then I think we'll probably swap it to Archangel's Staff. No idea what 3rd relic this build will use. Maybe we'll try out some spicier stuff along the way, like a Crown Guard Inheritance or Corrupted Star Fragment or something like that. Anyway, this was a 1-star Morgana, beating the Nautilus adventure at level 8. And thanks for hanging out.